Sarah and I were we were at the pool in the neighborhood this past week, and we were talking about getting our mouths open. I was sitting there, and I just had a lot of things going through my mind, and there was not anybody around or anything, and I began to just vocally just thanking Yahweh, just for that moment in time, and to have that moment with Sarah, and to have the opportunity to watch our kids grow up, and thanking him just for everything.
Yeah.
And it was a really good moment. That we had. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just me and him at the pool. There was nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody was there. No kids jumping around.
Yeah.
Literally, it was just he and I.
Oh,
It was great.
yeah.
I'm gonna do the Waymaker one more time since Catherine hasn't heard it.
Okay.
When the first time I'd heard the song, for some reason that song just stuck with me. And the chorus is, you're a Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness.
Yeah.
And everybody's singing that to Yahweh, and I believe that Yahweh's singing that to us.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what we are.
Good.
We are promise keepers.
Yeah.
We're way makers.
Yeah.
We're light in the dark, all those things.
Absolutely.
And so I kind of turned it around a little bit, but. God that healeth thee. I am the Lord, your healer. I said my word and healed your disease. I am the Lord, your healer. I am the God that healeth thee. I am the Lord, your healer. I sent my word and healed your disease. I am the Lord, your healer. I am the God that healeth thee. I am the Lord, your healer. I send my word and heal. I am the Lord, your healer. I am the God that healeth thee. I am the Lord, your healer. I send my word and heal your disease. I am the Lord, your healer. My heart beats to the light of your light. You and I are synchronized right. I have friends that live in truth to reveal the Christ in you. My heart beats to the light of your light.
Where is it? I had not heard that.
Talked a few weeks ago about letting your spirit talk, and I'm glad today that we're getting that back.
Yeah, hallelujah.
And I encourage you guys. You want to hear your spirit talk. It's not weird. It's actually one of the most fulfilling things you'll ever do with your voice.
Yeah.
I would remember when I began to talk to God in language that I didn't understand, because my spirit was speaking and my intellect was unfruitful of what it meant. All I knew is it was right. I still lived in Florida. I was single at the time, and I was washing dishes. We were living in a house across from the beach, and I looked around to see if anybody was in the room, and I just opened my mouth and just began to speak in a language I didn't know. And I began to joyfully weep. And I couldn't stop. I put it this way, I didn't want to stop. I had uncovered something in me that had been buried for years and years. But I'm telling you, I just want to encourage you, man. If your spirit is so wanting to talk, so wanting to live on the outside, so wanting to manifest the kingdom, because that's what your spirit does. Your spirit manifests the kingdom on the outside of you. But you have to let go.
Yeah.
In other words, stop trying to control it.
Yeah.
I know the pressure of what it feels like when you feel like, well, I don't know. But so it's kind of hard. Sometimes it's been so long since you've had your mouth open that you feel embarrassed and inhibited, or maybe even a little lost and out of place, out of sorts. Because I did. I remember being somewhere with some guys, and this was a very, very large church, and I was sitting in this guy's office, and all of a sudden this thought hit me: I don't even belong here. I don't deserve this. I start crying, sitting there. He goes, "What's wrong?" I said, "Dude, I don't belong here." He came over and got on his knees in front of me. He said, "Are you out of your mind?" He said, "You absolutely belong here." It was Bobby Mason.
And where were you at? Where was
In
it?
Dallas. He said, "You absolutely belong here." So I know what it feels like to just not feel worth it, or just like, I don't know, I was told this is not right or it's not good. But I'm telling you, man, don't be fooled. You are spirit.
Yeah.
You are spirit, and your spirit so wants to live out. It's one thing to house your spirit. It's quite another thing to try to manipulate and control it.
Yeah.
Let your spirit out. It speaks the mysteries of the kingdom. And I will tell you this, the mysteries of the kingdom concerning you, concerning yourself.
Yeah.
That we're missing so many things because we won't allow spirit to talk. Trust me, your reputation in heaven is a whole lot more important than it is in a crowd of people. Because friends put pressure on friends to what's the word? I don't want to say compromise, but acquiesce, yeah, give into to be like us. Well, I'm telling you, be like the us that you came from.
Yeah.
Be like that.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, he'll loosen you, man. He'll loosen you in a liberty that you didn't know
Wow.
or have long forgotten.
Wow.
But I promise you, it's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth it all. Don't give up, man. Don't give in. Don't try to be a part of the mass. If you want to lead in any capacity, you have to set yourself in a place called apart. And apart just simply means singularly you being who you are.
Right.
But it's difficult to know who you are if we don't communicate with spirit.
Yeah. That's good.
You say, well, I talk to God. That's not what I said. Communicate with spirit. It's your spirit communing with him. communicating with Him for the purpose of communion. The communion is becoming one. So let Spirit talk.
Yeah.
Let your Spirit talk. Let him out. Let him out.
Yes. Amen.
You will not be. You won't be disappointed. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
It'll bring some of the greatest joy you've ever had in your entire life. So, and yes, you do that on your own, but we also do it in the congregation together when we're worshiping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are moments like today, and I appreciate you leading the way on that, John,
Yes.
because it's high time we talk Spirit.
Yeah.
If we want to
Yeah.
speak the mysteries of God in the natural, we have to speak the mysteries of God in the Spirit first.
Yes.
The Scripture says to pray that you interpret what you prayed in the Spirit. But how can you interpret something you haven't said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
So you get your mouth open and begin to let your Spirit talk.
Mm-hmm.
If you need some liberty, I'll be glad to pray for you. I'll be glad to lay hands on you and loose you. I will. I'm all about being free.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. Freedom gives you a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're just a sheep being led to a slaughter. You're not trying to compromise or comply. You're not trying to look and act like everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
The body of Christ is supposed to be a many-member, diverse group. I mean, creeds, colors, male, female, no hair, short hair, long hair, braided hair buns, all that. I mean, we're supposed to be who we're supposed to be.
Yeah. Good.
Catherine had me come out. We were watching television last night, and I was getting ready for bed. And I came outside. She said, "Sit down and watch this guy for a second." His name's Michael Maines.
Mike,
Mike Maines,
just had it.
young guy, young group.
Mike Maines and the Branches.
Mike Maines and the Branches. Encourage you. Look their music up. I told Catherine, I said, I want to buy their music. I want to be a part of supporting this young group. I don't do that often, and I hear a lot of music, but I wouldn't pay for that. I wouldn't want to pay for that. But these I would. There's this brand of people, much like Trailer Flowers and now these bands that are truly kingdom-minded people, but not religious in any way.
Mm-hmm.
In any way. It's they live in a liberty. Chad's in his generation, where he is today, they live in a liberty that mine doesn't know.
Absolutely.
It's not mine.
Yeah.
It's theirs. So I'm all about them having their liberty. I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, would you just let me in? I'll be a fly on the wall. I just want to be there. I want to watch. I want to see. If there's anything I can do, I'll be glad to do it. Anything I can impart, I'll be glad to impart. If I just need to come in and sit down and be quiet, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Just let me in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a part of what God's doing, even if it's just to be there to participate in silence. I just want to be there. I heard people talk about, heard about the moves of God back in the 70s, the charismatic moves, and the Toronto, they called it the Toronto blessing, I think what they called it. And people said, 75% of that was just religious stuff. I go, you're telling me 25% of that was actually God?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can be a part somewhere that 25% of it's God, then let's go get some 25%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to look at what wasn't. I mean, even the 75% was well intended.
Right.
I mean, people want God.
Yeah.
They do. They really want Him.
Yeah.
They just don't want to be controlled and manipulated.
Yeah.
Right.
They want to be set in the free place so that we can celebrate who they are. They can celebrate who I am. We stop the expectations of thinking we have to say everything properly.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, one of the great things about conversation is like Kath and I was sitting on the porch this last week talking, and I made a statement about something I was going to say this morning, and she said, I don't know that I agree with that. And so we talked for the next 45 minutes, and I understood some things that she was saying, and I agree with what she was saying. So I didn't feel like I had to be right. I wanted to be right, because nobody wants to be wrong.
Yeah.
And when somebody says, well, I don't know that I agree with that, that doesn't feel real good. You know, I could have just gone into a little shell and said, well, you know, I always disagree and I never can be right because, you know, you're always going to say something. That's the whiny thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody in here besides me ever done that? Yeah, I've whined a little.
Yeah.
Oh, you go to just laugh and ain't saying you did it. You did it too. You've done it too.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
We're living,
Anytime I'm wrong.
but you have to know that you want to be convinced that, first of all, you want to be convinced you're wrong.
Yeah.
You don't really want to be convinced you're wrong, but you want to be right.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to deal with how I feel.
Yeah.
If she tells me that I'm wrong, it's a little offensive to me. But again, what happens when you're offended?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing. Nothing. It's actually a wonderful opportunity. If I'm offended,
Yeah.
why?
Right.
What in me was easily offended? It's an opportunity for me to become whole in that dwelling place in my heart.
Yeah.
In my Father's house are many dwellings. That's just one of them. If it's offended, it means it needs help.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Absolutely.
So this morning I want to talk to you a little bit about trust and faith. Now, some of the things I've got written down here, I'm not going to go into it, particularly the one that Catherine disagreed on. But I want to tell you a story before I go into that. There was this little handsome ruddy guy that used to watch sheep for his dad, Jesse. He had a bunch of brothers, and they were strapping young men, big, muscular, handsome, square-jawed brothers. And the prophet Samuel shows up one day because Yahweh's told him that there's a king in that family. And so Jesse parades all of his sons in front of the prophet. The prophet goes, nope, not you. Nope, not you. This one either? No. He went through all 6 of them. He says, you have any more? He said, well, I got this little ruddy guy out there watching the sheep. He goes, bring him here. He brought him. And the Lord says, he's the one. I will crown him king. Jesse dumps the oil on him. Anoints him. The next thing you know, he gets a text from Saul's office. They've heard about him. But before that happened, actually, they were at war. Israel is at war with Philistia. And Israel was on a mount called Elam. The Philistines were on a mountain called Soko. Soko means thorn, which kind of tells me that the Philistines were a thorn in their flesh. Elam meant eternal. And here they are on the separate mountains, the valley of Elah between them. And they're all like peacocks strutting their feathers. Nobody's actually done anything yet. They're just strutting. The Philistines are strutting better because they have these giants. They said was like 6.5 cubits tall, which is over 9 feet tall. Not cubits. what was the, maybe it is cubit.
Cubic inches.
From here
There.
to here.
It's, I think 1 cubit's like 18 inches, and they said he was 9 cubits tall, so he's over about 9.5 feet tall. That's a big boy, and he's got brothers, and so, I mean, he is hurling insults because they're calling on their God, Israel's calling on their God. Ain't nothing happening, nothing. There's a time for trust, and the trust is you got to get to the battlefield. You got to get there and trust that I'll be there for you. Well, they went, and like I said, they all just strutted on their mountaintops, but nobody went to the valley. And one day Jesse tells David, take these loaves of bread and this cheese and these supplies and take them to your brothers and find out what's going on and bring me a report back. So David shows up on the battlefield, and sure enough, he brings the cheese and the bread, and his brothers insult him immediately because now they're pissed, okay? I mean, the prophet turned them down and took David. Now David's the king, and so they're like, who do you think you are? You coming here to be king? Come here to show off? No, I just came to bring you something to eat. So Goliath steps up while David's there and just starts railing against Yahweh and Israel. And David's looking around like, I mean, this is the mighty army of God. And Saul's there in full array, and they're all there doing nothing but allowing themselves to be insulted by their adversary. But this isn't a time for trust anymore. Trust is important. You have to have trust. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. You have to do that. But when you lean on His understanding, the trust in His understanding is that He causes you to stand up in faith. Faith is an action.
Yeah.
Faith is active. This trust that they had was passive. And that's okay. That's what it's supposed to have been. But they needed faith. And they were looking to the strong arms of their military. They were looking at their armor and their swords. But what Yahweh had raised up was a ruddy little 16-year-old, handsome young man that the family was embarrassed by and didn't like. Because the only thing he was apparently good for was bringing cheese and bread to his brothers. What they didn't know, when nobody's looking at David, because he's got a job nobody wants and nobody's interested. When he's by himself guarding those sheep, what his daddy doesn't know and his brothers doesn't know is that he's been killing lions and bears, barehanded, that come after those sheep. His family had profit because of who he was and what he did when nobody was looking.
That's good.
So for him, he's single-handedly taking sheep out of the mouth of a lion. Dude, are you kidding me? That's brilliant. I would be like, man, he sure was a nice sheep.
Yeah.
Sorry, but now you're lion's meal because I ain't coming over there. But David hears this loudmouth Philistine. And he's rightfully so, defending himself and his honor and his family and his kingdom. And he issues this threat and somewhat of an offer. He said, send me your most powerful warrior. If he defeats me, we'll serve you. But if we defeat you, you serve us. And nobody on Mount Elam moved except David. No one had faith on that mountain. They had trust that God would do something. They just didn't have faith that they could do anything. And David stepped up and he said, "Who is this loudmouth Philistine?" And then he says this, and this got back to the king. He said, "Is there not a cause?" When he said that, buddy, that was like an anointed phrase. And it got right back to the king. And the king said, "Send me that young man." He sends him there and he says, "Look, king, I can take this guy. I can take this guy. I'm telling you, this is why we're here, is to end this." So the king immediately wants to put his armor on him with his sword and his helmet. And David's trying to move around in this. And he goes, "Man, I can't even see out of this helmet. I can't move. It's restricting me." He takes it off. He goes and he gets 5 smooth stones and takes his sling. Now, he had 5 smooth stones. Why? Because Goliath had 4 brothers. He didn't know if he was going to have to kill all of them. Did you ever wonder why he took 5 stones, like in case he missed or something? I want to make sure I got extras.
Yeah.
But, and he goes out and he literally, man, he doesn't just stand there. He runs toward the Philistine. The Philistine insults him in the valley. "This is who you're sending me? Really? Is this the best you have?" And he laughs David, thinking he's laughing him to scorn, but he didn't. David took one of those stones, put it in his sling, and he starts running toward the Philistine. And he slings that rock. And we know the story that the rock didn't just hit him in the head, it embedded into his forehead. Now, understand this. He ain't dead. The Philistine's not dead. He just fell down. It hurt bad. Probably knocked him out. David doesn't have a sword. So what does David do? David goes, takes the Philistine's sword, grabs him by the hair, and cuts his head off. Well, that's just not very Christian-like. You obviously ain't never been to war. Ain't nothing Christian about war. But it is sure enough about kingdom.
Right.
David, that day, because of his faith, the entire Israeli military stepped into faith. They chased the Philistines until they literally killed pretty much every one of them. They could have chased them before David showed up, but they
Yes.
didn't, because they were still living in a passive trust. God's going to do this. The priests are out there, and and they're, "Oh God, show up for our military." All of this stuff. But there comes a point when trust is worthless, because it's no longer time for trust.
Right.
It's time for faith. And faith is an action. Faith is what you do.
Yeah.
What David did caused courage to rise and faith rise up in the rest of the military. And they pursued that military until they utterly annihilated them. And that was pretty great. Except that act of faith caused a king to hate David. They said that the spearhead of Goliath's spear weighed 25 pounds. Just the spearhead. Good Lord.
Yeah.
You imagine, throw it? Crap, I'd just be good to pick it up.
It's heavier than a kettle ball.
Yeah.
That's Levi's size. It's like throwing the
Not to mention with the staff weight.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, let me read some of these differences between trust and faith. Trust can be passive and silent. Faith is active and vocal. Trust excuses our ignorance, and that's in a very positive fashion. Trust excuses it. If we don't know, you don't know. Ignorance doesn't mean you're stupid. Ignorance just simply means you don't know. Faith increases our knowledge so we know what to do. You want faith? Let your spirit begin talking. Watch what happens. Trust is your fail-safe or default position and is passive. Once again, faith is your active position, knowing what Yahweh is doing.
Yeah.
This is not saying trust is bad. Trust is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just separating. I'm telling you the distinctions. Trust has few answers. When you're trusting someone, when you're trusting for someone else to do for you, it means you don't have very many answers. Right?
Right.
Excuse me, yes.
There are things that I need done. I trust someone to do that. I hire. I trust them to do the job because I can't.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing. Faith is your... what? Nope. Faith demands answers. Not... Okay, it's not passive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't ask for an answer. Demands the answer. And that is so powerful.
Yes.
Trust doesn't require a stance. Faith gives vision to a place to stand. Trust believes God does miracles. It's good, huh? Can somebody tell me what faith does? It's not loaded. It's not a loaded question. Faith believes you can perform miracles.
Yeah.
We sang it this morning.
Yeah.
Trust believes God is creative. Faith believes what?
I am crazy.
Yes, you're creative. Come on,
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
you need to see
Yeah.
these are 101 and I know it seems like, well, don't quit treating me like I'm 5 years old. I'm not. I'm treating you like you're eternal.
Yeah. Amen.
It's the kingdom of heaven's in your mouth. And a lot of times unless you say it, you won't hear it. You'll hear what I say, but unless you say it, it doesn't become a part of you. That's why I ask a question, because you need to say these things out loud. They need to get out of your mouth into your ear.
Yeah.
So, would you humor me, if nothing else? Faith believes God is trust believes God is creative. Faith believes what?
I am creative.
Thank you so much. God bless you. You made me feel so good. Trust believes God does miracles. Faith believes what?
I do miracles.
Thank you, guys. Trust is banking on what He knows that we don't. Right? Faith is banking on what we know that He's revealed to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if He can do it in trust,
Uh-huh.
and the thing that He can do in trust, He actually reveals to you, it means He's telling you, you do it.
Yeah.
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 Just like I do.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now, the scripture says that trust is the victory that overcomes the world.
Nope.
She's right. That's wrong. Faith is the victory that overcomes the world. Faith is. Faith is an action. It's not passive. People say, well, you got to have faith. What they mean is I got to believe something, which requires nothing on their part.
Right.
That's not faith.
Right.
It's hope, trust, but it's not faith.
Yeah.
Hope and trust are what you hold in your heart. Faith's what you hold in your hand that you've held in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the evidence of things not seen. That's why David needed to show up when he did. I will tell you this. Religion will make you weird, but faith will make you desirable. The
Yeah.
people loved David when he showed up.
Yeah.
After that day, when David spoke, whatever David did, he did with great honor and humility. and he had favor, he was captain over thousands. Because the king trusted him, but the king wasn't trustworthy. The king promised him his daughter in marriage and then gave her to somebody else. Only to find out that his younger daughter loved him, and so he gave her to him. Like, just giving a woman to some guy. It's kind of sad, really. At least my way of thinking these days. So let me say this. Please listen to this one carefully, ladies and gentlemen. When you want to win more than you want to be protected, you win. When you want to win more than you want to be protected, you win.
Wow.
Nobody wants their kids living in their house forever.
Right.
But as long as you just protect them, they don't have to do anything because you're their protector. You're not raising them to be independent of you or to be interdependent with you. You're raising them to be dependent on you, which means that you're not giving them responsibility to become independent or interdependent. You're actually dumbing them down because you're the one with all the answers. You're the one this, and they're supposed to be grateful, and they're supposed to be this. Yes, gratitude is all important. But it's something they give, not something you demand. But they won't give you thanks or true gratitude if you just keep giving them stuff, and they never understand the responsibility of what faith requires.
Wow.
If all they're doing is trusting you, you're raising up anemia. We equip our children and the people with faith. Faith means they don't always need you to do what they need to do. You know how David trained himself to kill a Philistine? By killing bears and lions.
Yes.
I mean, to him, Goliath was the easiest prey. He was predictable. Lions and bears, somewhat not quite so predictable. But as far as David was concerned, he's like, you guys got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
This guy, take him. We can take him. Faith is the substance of the things, man. So, I'm just saying, I'm grateful for the protection of the Holy One in my life. I am. Because there's things I don't know, and I trust Him to guard me and protect me concerning the things I don't know. But I don't want to be ignorant. I don't want to stay ignorant. I want to become as wise and as shrewd. I want those characteristics in my life. You know, the harmless as a dove. Oh, isn't that sweet? No. But to be shrewd as a serpent. See, that combination is really powerful. Harmless as a dove means that I already know. Let me put it another way. I could take you out, but I won't.
Yeah.
I know how to destroy you. But what I'm going to do is bless you.
Yeah.
That's where the great strength lies. How easy is it to destroy someone? It's lazy, and you can find people all over the place to help you destroy a person because everybody's looking to get on a bandwagon to hurt somebody
Yeah.
or to take them down.
Yeah.
But when somebody says, man, what that guy did to you, what did you do? Well, I sent him a check for $500. You what? But he tried to, but that's my effective warfare. Is not going up to him with a gun and that's not effective warfare in the kingdom. My effective warfare is to bless those who persecute me, pray for those who despitefully use me. That's where my strength is. I am serving. And as long as long as I'm serving, I'm in control.
Yes.
Because serving means I don't need protection here. I've actually armed myself. I am already armed, but I'm armed with something that will disarm my adversary. Faith, hope, love. The greatest of these is love.
Yes.
Because without it, faith doesn't matter. Without love, my faith would be, I have faith that I could take this guy out in the sights of my gun. Without love. But with love, I'm looking for solution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for something that, first of all, knowing that my adversary is still a belongs to the Father. He doesn't belong to me.
Yes.
And I want the words that I want my words to find me blessing,
Yeah.
not destroying somebody. Like, I've been caught up in the conversations of people. And I've also suffered the consequences of my words. I know what it's like when the scripture says your words will find you out.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just find you, they find you with the very intent that you sent them. Because it's like a big freaking boomerang. It smacks, it goes out. You go, okay, man, got it. Target, inside. And then that boomerang comes back and smacks you right upside the head.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fun. Watching not just what you say, but how you say it is really essential. So you see a guy like David who steps up and says this one thing: is there not a cause? Dang. And that's the question that's to be asked to us today. Is there not a cause? That we're not wrestling with flesh and blood, folks.
Yes. Right. Mm.
The things that we're calling our enemies are not our enemies. They're just lost. We have the power of life in our tongue.
Mm-hmm.
The power of life and death, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we do.
Don't allow yourself to think that you're not. You are. You have that authority. You've been given that authority. When I'll tell you, when I speak, when I address, like what we addressed yesterday on the back porch, I fully anticipate what I said to happen. I do. I fully anticipate it. Or why would I say it? What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting Yahweh on the spot. I put myself on the spot.
Amen. Yes.
He's already done everything he can do. The kingdom of heaven is perfect. Everything has been done. We're stepping into an agreement, into a communion, through communication with the Holy One, so that we can address in the earth what he sees in the heavens, so that we're walking with him, with his mind, and able to do what he does in the earth.
Yeah.
And that's unconventional, at best unconventional. I mean, that's not even close to what I really mean. I don't have a word or a phrase for what I'm talking about. You've never seen it before. We've never seen these things before. We've read about them in places. It's sort of like Johnny flying in his dreams for the first time the other night.
Yeah.
Thursday night, he goes, man, I had a dream the other night. I was flying. I'm going, yes, yes, yes. I love flying. It's so much fun. Because you don't have to do anything. Yeah?
That's right.
It's not like I'm going, I do believe I fly. I do believe I can fly. I do.
Try one
Yeah,
day.
you just think I want to go over here, and you just
Yeah.
let go and go.
Yeah.
You just fly. It's wonderful. I've been on bridges and just let go and just go somewhere. And it's not like Superman fly.
Yeah.
You just like going.
Yeah.
I always thought the Superman thing was cute. How you had to be horizontal to fly. Yeah, that's right with the had to change fists to turn left and right.
Go left or right.
Steering wheel.
That's right. Steering arms. So, men, trust in God. Do. But also understand that we trust really well. But do we faith really well?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We have to know the difference between the two perfections. So, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He'll make your path straight.
Yes.
But you have to walk the path, and that requires faith.
Yeah.
Just came up. That's an old saying I just made up.
Uh,
God, I hope this makes sense, and I hope it's simple. It has to be. I'm not that complicated. So anyway, I painted with some pretty broad strokes this morning. My favorite paintbrush in the world requires no paint.
Always clean.
Always clean. All right. That's all I've got for now.
Good.
Really good, really good.
Anybody have any comments